make sure that. Okay. And
Got
I'm
it.
gonna share my screen. Okay. And can you see my trading view
Yes,
screen?
I can
Okay.
see it. I'm blowing it up.
All right. I'll just wait for a second while you blow it up. But I'm glad that you got the indicator working without having to hop on a Zoom. That's great. And I see you killing it with the trades already. That's what I like to see.
Yeah, kind of guessing my way. I slowed it down to the hour.
Okay,
Full
cool,
screen. There we go. All right, there we go.
cool,
Yeah,
cool.
but I definitely want to learn how to do things the right way instead of running to catch the train. I want my seat on the train, so I'm there when the train leaves the station.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's the way to not get hurt and have the most stress-free trading experience. All right. So I'm gonna show
Right.
you from the step one. Of course, step one being how to get the indicators on your screen, and then we're gonna break down, what they do, and I'm gonna show you perfect setups, to take essentially just how to use it. I mean, that's really all you need to know, right?
Okay.
Okay, so of course here we have the trading view chart. My trading view chart is customized. I just have black candles, as you can see here. And in order to add the indicator, you hit forward slash, right? That'll bring up your indicators and metrics and strategies. You go to invite only, right? And the Neo Hyena Vision is the first one you should be adding. So by Jeffrey the artist. And I know you've already done this, Derek, but this is for everybody that comes after you, of course. Okay, so Neo Hyena Vision, you added that. Next, you add the market controller, right? And the market controller should pop up below in a separate window. And Neo Hyena Vision should paint little lines on your screen, red, green, blue lines on your screen, and various other lines as well. But I will get into what exactly each of these lines means a little bit later. So, Neo Hyena Vision is designed to be a barometer for bias, right? It's allows you to determine where opportune trading entries are in the market via algorithmic levels. So there is the daily algorithmic level, right, which resets every single day. We have the weekly algorithmic level, which is this blue line here. We can see how it acted as what people would call resistance. It wasn't exactly to the T this week on it, but you could have definitely caught entries. Then we go further back in time.
I don't have the colors of the triangles. Is that
That's
something I
actually
should
something
have, or is that
it's something I just added like literally just today.
okay?
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to go over that as well. But the monthly level is the maroon. It's kind of coded by phonetic sound. Monthly, maroon, weekly, like water's blue. Daily is dark, so it's black. All right. And since you asked about these arrow lines, go ahead and get into it. So this is a new addition to the code. Um, kind of an advanced concept, but what you need to know about it is that it's when there is significant manipulation in the market occurring. So an arrow on the bottom, it could mean that sellers are taking profit. So it's like it's showing underlying volume being absorbed. So something you can't really see with your eyes. That's what I use indicators for, to see the unseen. And so what this is basically a volume based support line, right? And if it's on the top, it's a volume based resistance line. You can see how once the setup was detected here, It wasn't too many pips that pierced it on this particular day, right? You could have traded in between the levels, the absorption levels, which was also coinciding with the daily algorithmic level and very close to the weekly algorithmic level, as well as you see on the bottom of the VWAP that this absorption line was coinciding with that. So you could have caught some very clean entries off of that as well. The important thing to understand is that they are not necessarily buy or sell signals, right? A For instance, a buy signal could happen at the top of the range, right? Like here, but it doesn't necessarily mean to buy, especially if you see, again, it is occurring at the top of the range. It's more likely to be buyers being absorbed by sellers. That's when the market flips over, right? Flips over meaning it reverses, right? So you see how we got this at the top of the range here, and then the market flipped over, right? And it
Right.
continue to use these volume based lines as quote unquote resistance, right? So this volume based line from what 2 days ago, a day ago, was still a viable entry point for the next day. So they're to paint hidden entry points, and your best bet when you use them is to wait until a level coincides with another relevant algorithmic level. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So for the ones that are watching after you, I'm going to repeat that one more time so you make sure. Don't just use these absorption lines by themselves. Okay. You want to wait until the absorption line is coinciding with an algorithmic level, like the VWAP, like the daily algorithmic level, like the weekly algorithmic level, like the monthly or the daily extremes, which also, or I forget, Neo Hyena Vision also has more extreme levels than just the daily and the daily open, weekly algorithmic open, and the monthly algorithmic open. It also has the weekly high, which is a very strong level, the weekly low, monthly high, and monthly low. Okay. And so these are all very strong levels for trading from, right? So the previous week's high, the same concept as the monthly opens and the weekly opens. It's when price reaches these extremes that you look to take the opposite position. And then, of course, not every setup is going to be quote unquote as easy, right? If it breaks through, right, then of course it's going to be the opposite level. As you can see, this level got broken, right here, and it didn't hold. But what did it do? Once it broke through, that became your break and retest point. So a lot of concepts that you have probably heard before, like, break and retest, breakout trades, it's not that they don't work, it's that people aren't taught the relevant pricing levels to actually watch out for these things occurring at. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, cool. So on to the market controller. All right, and this is, I'm glad that we can see this here. Um, Actually wasn't as pristine as I thought. So let me find just like cherry pick a perfect example so you can kind of see, that was on GBP USD. We had some absolutely clean and clear. Okay, so first scenario, because just because I see it happening here, okay? So here we have price reaching the VWAP level, right? That's what this green cloud is. That's the VWAP, right?
Okay.
Okay, so here this is New York Open, right? Right around 1430. It's reaching the VWAP level, okay? Reaching the VWAP level. You see on the market controller, we have green, right? Which means the retail perspective is like, oh wow, it's breaking out, it's juicy, it's buying up, right? But we use this understanding of what the retail perspective sees to do the opposite. Okay. So when the market controller is green, like very green, that's when you're looking to do the opposite of it, right? You combine the level, like a relevant pricing level, like here we have the VWAP, right? We can use this little tool to see how tight the stop loss could have been, even for this, from trading from the VWAP, right, to the middle VWAP. You could have faded the trade there, right? The thing about these setups, it's not always just going to be like perfect, especially if there's news that could um be a roadblock. Like the market doesn't really like to move until all the news is done, right? So even before the news came out, right, it came out like you would have gotten spiked out here, but you still could have caught a beautiful entry because it never pierced the high of the day, right? It came back to mitigate and then drop back down. The beauty of, again, the indicator on this is like the perfect example of when to buy, right? So we had the indicator give us the visual cue that the sellers are getting super excited in the market. And when the sellers are getting super excited, the retail herd, we do the opposite. So we buy, right? So this was an extremely clean entry. And let me explain to you why, right? And take profit would have been right here. All right. So let me explain to you why this entry was so clean. You see how we have two levels right here, right?
Yes.
Okay. Not only do we have these two relevant pricing levels, and I think this was like the monthly extreme and the weekly extreme, but let me make sure I'm not telling you no stories. Okay, so yeah, it was the weekly high and the monthly high that formed this layered liquidity launch zone, which is a term that I use. It's when multiple algorithmic levels are right beside each other, like they create like a very strong zone, as you can see how this price just rejected like very clean from this area, right? But what made
Right.
this zone even more important is that we also had an absorption occur, right? It's not again, not necessarily important whether buyers got absorbed or sellers got absorbed. What matters is that this is a level that adds extra confluence to this. We know that there's a lot of volume inside of this level, right? So we are using volume and liquidity as our trading setup. So here, the price got to relevant pricing level, right? This is why this setup is perfect and easy. Got to relevant pricing level. We got the indication that sellers were super excited at this level, right? From that, we know that price, because the sellers are so excited, that it's a good time for us to potentially buy the market, okay? And from there, you just hold your trade until you see the market controller turn the opposite color,
Okay.
right? So that would be a perfect buy setup, right? So we're gonna run through that one more time. Okay, we got multiple layers of liquidity. You want to wait. Like every setup isn't the same, but when you combine things that have happened in the past, like I know that when two relevant algorithmic levels form and then you add volume inside of that, you get very strong reactions at those levels, right? So price was falling, selling very hard into the level. Market controller turned red, right? That's your entry. and you put your stop loss like ideally just below the layered liquidity launch zone. So you see how again the stop loss, I mean, is crazy tight, still like 2 pips, right? A 2 pip stop loss, very possible. And you just ride it until the market controller gives you the indication to get out, right?
Mhm.
The same thing. I mean, it also occurred here. Was it as easy? No. When the market pierces the layered liquidity launch zone, I say it's not as easy, but this was still a great setup because where did it land? Right here inside of fair value, probably at some special time that we have. Uh, yeah, right at a special time, which we have the special times again coded into the Discord channel. So I'm sure I don't know if you've been paying attention to the Discord or not. But there are like multiple messages that come via AI that let us know when an like a opportune trading window is starting to occur. Because I mean, I know you see the entries that I get in the market, and it's not, of course, it's not luck, right? Like there's certain times that the market presents can present these precision trading opportunities. Okay, so let's find
Okay.
a perfect sell example. Um, Better. I want it to be very, very clean for you. Mm, well, there's another perfect buy example. I'm gonna call out this buy example because I mean this is amazing right here. So price again, the same thing that I just showed you. Price was falling. Sellers were getting super excited here, and you see we had sellers were extremely excited. Price hit the weekly the weekly algorithmic level, and then it just took off from there. Like you had what 2 pips of drawdown, and not only that, you got the
Right.
absorption like right at the. That's another inclination. That's why this little absorption stuff is like it's really priceless. Like I explain to you. Um, yeah, this is priceless. A priceless tool that I've added into this indicator, right? How to know when the institutions are potentially taking profit, right? For high probability reversals. Okay. But back to it, let me find. Okay, here's a perfect sell. All right. So it doesn't, as you can see, it doesn't take long as you are patient, right? You just wait for price to reach one of these relevant pricing levels. As you can see, that's the weekly algorithmic level. What happened to the market controller? Turn green, right? That's how we know that buyers are
Right.
super excited. And then from there, once they had, the buyers super excited, they sold it, right? They took profit because they had everybody in the market. Wow, a 2 pip stop loss. And you could have ran it down to here, which is the take profit given out by the market controller,
Huh.
right? And you can see it would have been the perfect exit point.
Oh, definitely.
Right? So the main thing is with this setup because this is all there is to it. Like you have a turnkey, basically high risk to reward setups. But the main thing that you need to do is be disciplined to the process, right? You can't just take trades whenever you want to, right? You definitely have to wait for the market to set up, for it to get to these relevant pricing levels and then determine if the trade is good. And that's where, of course, the AI comes in. So let me open up my Discord because that's the next part of this. And while I'm opening that up, does everything that I'm saying make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. You guys have any questions or anything like that before I Continue, move on.
No, not necessarily. Not on what you're explaining. I think I'm understanding that.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm gonna share my Discord now. Share my screen rather, not share my Discord. Can you see my Discord?
Yes.
Okay, so here we have the Raptor Ninja Dojo, right? Which, just like I was talking about a little bit earlier, it lets us know, right? I have coded in these algorithmic trading cycles. So these are basically times where you can catch extremely precise reversals in the market, right? So you have access to everything in the Discord, right? And
Right.
the market matrix trading plan, which is essentially how to take the alerts, but you just got the sauce, just like, straight from the Raptor's mouth, right? I just basically gave you the market matrix trading plan, like the highest probability setups, but you can go through this, right? There are gems to pick up, right? Plenty of gems and plenty of knowledge in here that you can pick up. Okay. So I highly recommend that you go through this. You would be doing yourself a disservice if you did not, right? Doing yourself a disservice if you don't go through this. Okay. The Matrix, which I actually think I don't have Neo plugged up right now, but he typically calls out the DXY, which that's the dictator of the market. When the DXY does certain things, the rest of the market is going to make moves as well. They say when one market sneezes, other markets catch colds. Okay, so that's what the Neo will be plugged back up soon. We have the Matrix Reloaded, which the keymaker calls out plays on the entire stock market, right? So, of course, if you like, the main thing about this AI is if it's calling out like a bunch of the same plays, it means that the market is trending. Okay, it means that the market is trending and
Okay.
it's actually an invalid signal. Okay, so you would do the opposite of what it says. Okay, so here instead of this, you see the New York Stock Exchange is in discount, potential buys on US indices and all the rest of the pairs that it's talking about. All you would do is simply reverse that. Okay,
Okay.
simply reverse
What
that.
are those? What are those three X's for?
That's like saying Euro USD, AUD USD, NZD USD, right? The
Okay.
XXX
So anything
GPY.
opposite.
What'd you say?
So anything opposite.
Right. So you would take for like potential buys, that means Euro USD, gold. Um, anything that would be a sell would be anything that has USD first, right?
Right.
Okay. That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we have the architect. Okay. The architect calls out the weekly and monthly extremes, right? So when price has reached this has eyes on 32 pairs in the market, right? So it's going to let us know when price has reached these specific pricing levels. Let's just actually GBP
Yeah.
USD.
Could you show me what one of those extremes are? Because that's what threw me this morning.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me reshare my screen. And we're on GBP USD right now. So reset chart view. Okay, so at 11:19. So this was the monthly extreme and the weekly extreme here. And it was letting us know at 11:19 that price was inside that level, was at those levels. It also, if we let me see, would it be my whole screen if I shared that I could switch back? Think so. Okay. Can you see my Discord right now?
I can see Discord right now. Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So let me go back to this time 10:15. That would have been 5 o'clock. So let me go back to Discord. So you see at 5 o'clock, we got the alert that Euro US or GBP USD had reached that pocket. It let us know that both of them, both of the alerts, the previous week extreme and the previous month high, by seeing that, right, we can deduce that that's a launch zone because it hit both the previous week extreme and the previous month high at the same time, right? See that right here. And what happened from that level?
Okay.
Flew to the moon, right? And we got the take profit. We would look, right? So basically, if you're trying to take this alert, a lot of people mess up because they try and make it so they just enter the trade instantly, right? But you have time. You have time to take these alerts. This came at 512, right? 512 is right here, okay? It did not take off from that level until a whole 10 minutes later, right? You had time to open up your chart. Let's actually put it to the minute, right? We're gonna put it to the minute so we can see exactly what happened, so you know exactly what to expect. Okay, so at
All right.
10:12, this is when we got the first alert at 10:12 right here. Okay, you had 10 minutes, a whole 10 minutes to decide if this was an opportune time to get into the trade. You know that with the indicator, right? If it's turning red while it's at one of these pricing levels, those are the two confluences you need. That's it. It's very simple, right? Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So once these two parameters are filled, it's reaching one of these extremes and sellers are getting excited, or it's reaching an extreme and buyers are getting excited. Your job is just to pull the trigger. Okay. A good rule of thumb, if you're not comfortable with dropping a 10-point stop loss, or like not to say a 10 point, like a 1 point or a 2 point stop loss. Let's look at this. 4 points. I mean, even a
I've
five
been
point.
using the 10 pip stop loss all day today, and it's never come close to stopping me out. It's amazing.
They're beautiful to hear, man. That's what it's all about. I'm just here to help people achieve that, right? So you could use a 10-point stop, whatever. That's what I tell everybody who comes in initially. You shouldn't need more than a 10-point stop with these alerts, which there's your 10-point stop, right there. Of course, this is the lower time frame. You could take profit at the most recent high, right? These absorption lines are very good take profit points. There's a lot of liquidity in the market at these points, right? So even if you entered the market with a 10 point or 10 pip stop loss, this is would have still been a 1 to 2.74, right? And you could have gotten out. I mean, the thing is about the market controller, it is there to make sure that you collect profit. If you follow the market controller, right? I mean, sure, you may not get a million pips on every trade, but if you take profit every time the market controller tells you to take profit, you will be profitable, right? There's no way that if you follow the market controller and when it tells you to take profit, that you will not collect profit on your trades, right? But the hard part is being disciplined about following what we see in the market and not what we think and what we want to happen, right? Sure, you could have kept holding it, whatever. I like to take profit at the absorption lines, or if let me go back to this. So these lines here that you see, these gray lines, let me actually delete this stuff before you get a little convoluted. So these gray lines, you see this box, and
Yes.
these lines that continue after that, these are time based liquidity lines. Okay, what that means is this is Tokyo high or Tokyo low and Tokyo high. At the start of London session, right? The market is going to take out one side, right? One side of Tokyo and then reverse it to the opposite side. Okay. The best setups, like the US 30, I'll break this down for you real quick. For US 30, the trade that I took today on US 30, I was very confident in my setup, right? Because as we can see down here, Tokyo had not been taken out yet. So my trade, I was on YM, I think. YM. How I got that insane entry, it was just because it finally took out Tokyo High, right? We had the news event, which, I tell people again, like the new, like you were attracted because of, the news, right? Like learning how to interpret the news. But that to me, like I learned how to do that like um almost 3 years ago now, right? Like it's been a very long time since I first came into the understanding of like, the news is doing something to the market. But as I continue to dive deep, like you're getting, the deepest understanding of it and what I do. And I don't listen to the necessarily the outcome of the news anymore, right? Like I didn't trade US 30 because of the data, right? I traded US 30 because of the price action. I know that anytime that price hasn't taken out Asian low, which as you can see, like here, we just had a bunch of retail bullish liquidity built up. This is all fake to me, right? That anytime I see lower lows and higher highs and lower lows and higher highs, and we have a major news event coming up, I'm expecting it all to get wiped out, right? And this was an amazing play, like just ridiculously beautiful. I had like a 7 point stop loss on this trade, and of course it ran way further than that. Like of course it did, but it's not about that. Like you can't get caught up in the money that gets left on the table, right? You just have to be satisfied
Right.
with the money that you get, right? And be disciplined enough to stay in the game to catch the next trade. Like, be like, oh man, I want to catch more money. I want to trade more. Like you could have, yeah. Like you see this absorption line, there's plenty of moves that occurred later on in the day. But you catch a 1 to 25, you should be done,
Right.
right? There's plenty of opportunities like these absorption lines, the way like I just added this in. This is literally $1 million tool that I just added into this indicator. For real. 100%. It's how I caught the play on US 30 this morning. You see the absorption occurred, and since I was bearish, like that was my catalyst. It wasn't just this. There's like some private student stuff that I also used. But just know that it was time-based liquidity based off the Asian high, right? We had the absorption, and I just was ready to go at that point. That's all you need. You don't need crazy amounts of confluence to get into the market. In fact, the more confluence you use, the less trades you're probably going to make, right? It's not about having a million confluences, it's about having the right confluences.
Right.
So, a little tip about the absorption lines, use it as time based liquidity, right? Use it in conjunction again with these relevant pricing levels. It's no coincidence that price got up to the Tokyo high, which is the Tokyo bank level. This is the level that the Tokyo banks decided to reverse price from. Very relevant, right? It got to that level and then they closed their orders. And what happened? It was a free fall, absolute free fall from there. And anytime that they were collecting profit, right? You could have gotten amazing entries from those levels, right? You see how like it broke
Right.
through that, and then it was the break and retest that traders are looking for.
Yeah, they tricked retail. Tricked retail traders into buying to take out the high,
Yep.
and then institution dropped the bomb on him and just sold it off.
Right. And so this indicator, it works on any pair under the sun. Again, I don't teach a strategy. What I do teach is market mechanics, right? Market mechanics. There's a difference between strategies and mechanics of the market. The market moves off of volume and liquidity, right? Doesn't matter what pair you trade, they all do the exact same thing. And it's just up to you to really put in the amount of time and effort that's necessary to to decipher the pattern in real time, right? Because all this stuff is, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's easy in hind, it's easy in like while you're looking at the charts, like it's easy when you're back testing. Like I can show you this, right? Like, oh wow, like this happened. You got a green thing at this level, and this is the Asian high and another relevant level. But would you have been able to do that in real time? And I know, I mean, me personally, I know that I can, but in order for you to do these things, you have to dedicate yourself. Like that's what it takes. There's nothing else. Um, like I'm not going to sugarcoat anything when it comes to the trading experience or downplay the amount of work that it takes to be successful because it takes mad work, right? Like you have to fortify your mentality, right? You have to get in the gym and do those reps. Nobody can make you practice this stuff, right? Nobody can do that but you,
Right. Exactly.
right? So
Got to get your own money. Can't be handed to you.
right, for sure, for sure. So, with all that being said, I think I believe I've covered the Neo Hyena Vision to the extent that it needs to be covered, as well as the market controller. Do you have any questions or comments or concerns?
No, I understand what you showed me. That answered a lot. That answered a lot. That cleared up a lot for me.
Perfect, perfect. So I'm just gonna drill some things into your brain, because I mean, this is really, I'm gonna say the holy grail, like really the holy grail of trading, man. Like you use the combination, like these layered levels. Okay, so you see here we have the absorption that occurred, right? You see that? Here
Yes.
we have the 88.6 level of the Tokyo range. I'm sure you're familiar with the Fibonacci, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this has an integrated Fibonacci tool inside of it. You combine any of these levels, like you get one line to like on top of another line, that's like the easy button. Like you just take the trade from that level, right? Like it doesn't like the first tap is going to be the best, right? I don't really play get in after multiple taps or whatever. No, I don't do any of that. If it's not the first tap, then I don't really want it, right? So boom, you could have your stop loss determined by the high of Tokyo. It really could have been at the bodies. Like that's a secret that I, don't really tell people how to get these crazy tight stop losses. But since you're in the dojo, you don't have to use the wick. If you get in right, you can use the body of a candle. And as you can see, this definitely melted to your target. Your market controller, it may not always turn like red or green at these peak levels, or valley levels, but that's why the levels are there. Like even if it doesn't turn red or green there, just take profit there because nothing is guaranteed, right? Nothing is guaranteed in the market. If the best thing that you can do when you're trading this understanding that I'm teaching is wait for a setup that like Asian high isn't taken out, right? Or Asian low isn't taken out. So like here we see this high wasn't taken out until the next day. And as soon as it took that out, what happened?
I still just see the Asian level. Did the screen freeze up?
No. Can you, is it moving right now for you?
No.
Oh, hold on. Let me see. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Bear with me. Zoom life. Share screen, share screen. Okay. Can you see now?
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so I was saying that this is Tokyo High, right? This right here, the box is Tokyo High, and then these are like the Fibonacci levels that are on the box. They're on Tokyo High, right? So the most relevant levels are the middle line, the Tokyo High, and Tokyo Low. All right, those are always the most relevant pricing levels. When you're looking for good trade setups, you want to make sure like the best trade setups that you're going to take, Asian high or Asian low won't have been taken out yet. Okay. So in this scenario here, right, was this London Open probably, right? At London Open. Yep. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock on the dot is London Open, and that's when the Mona Lisa, like most the picture perfect setups can occur. Like if you stay up for London session. But if you get one of these picture perfect setups, and it doesn't necessarily have to happen during London. Like the setup that I took on US 30 today, I call that a Mona Lisa too because Tokyo low hadn't been taken out, right? And when Tokyo low or high hasn't been taken out, that is a beautiful target for trades, right? And as we can see
Yeah.
here, to the T almost. Tokyo High at what time? Probably algorithmic volume. So right at the start of True Asian at 0300, right? It took out Tokyo High to the T, right? And then as soon as it did that, like that's when it entices breakout traders to get into trades. And we always do the opposite of what the retail herd is doing. That's the secret. That's what I do. Okay. And as we can see here, as soon as it took out that high, we also had the retail herd was excited, right? We could have taken that as a sneaky entry because why? It was at Asian high. That's a super relevant pricing level. Then you had the market controller change colors, right? And then you could have ran
Right.
that.
So retail traders were buying.
Right. They
Right.
were buying. Exactly. And then that's when you take the sell, right? And where do we run it? Right back down to relevant pricing level. You don't have to catch the whole wave, right? You
Right.
don't. Could have ran it to the back to the weekly, which is a safe bet. Like, a 1 to 8, that's a beautiful trade in any trader's life, right? Down to the low of London that hadn't been taken out, that's a 1 to 12, right? But I'm not out here to tell you to be hopeful with your targets. Like, yeah, sure, you could have ran it down there, but holding your trades is a difficult thing in the market, right? It's the thing of the unknown, right? So you have to make sure that you can be that you're mentally fortified to hold your trade to target, right? Here we go. I mean, this would have been 6 hours you would have been holding your trade, right? It's not
Yeah,
that
that's a good
long,
long
but
time.
yeah, it's not that long when you're not holding a trade, but when you are holding a trade, like your emotions go crazy. So
Right.
one of the easiest things to do when you're trading, and if you really don't want to be affected by the market, is just to close your MetaTrader down, right? Just close your MetaTrader down. That's it. All right. Set your
Um,
target at a logical place, right? Which is what Neo Hyena Vision is for. There's plenty of logical targets, like all of these, the daily algorithmic level, the monthly algorithmic level. Let's see what's lower if there was anything this line.
do I have these tabs also that you show on the chart, the
These tabs
hyena
you're
and
looking
all the
for,
other information?
this right here.
Yeah.
So yes, in order to do that, you would right click on the price point. So on the right side of your screen, you just right click and go to labels and indicators and financial name labels. You can toggle it on and off. Okay. One more thing, since I'm looking at the screen, I know you probably didn't expect to get all this sauce, but I can't help but teach when I get on, and that's just what it is. I'm a teacher, so Um, when you see two absorption lines that happen like, in the same space, right? You see how like these are tight together?
Right.
It's the same concept as when there are like two like this, when there's two algorithmic pricing levels that are placed together. So you can catch really strong entry points off of double absorption levels, right? Like here, still pierced it, more like by 3 pips. But again, that 10 pip stop loss. I know I have stop losses that are crazier than that, but you gotta, that just takes time, right? And digging in to the understanding. Take that to the daily or taking it to Asian low, whatever the case may be. I mean, it's just a matter of how you want to play it, right? Um, Again, reiterate the levels, like the best levels are always going to be like two or more levels that are sandwiched in the same area, right? So like here we had 3 levels sandwiched in the same area. Here at this turnaround we had 2 levels sandwiched at the same area, the absorption and Tokyo High. I mean, you can probably look left and probably find more things that are sandwiched in that level as well. My entry on US 30 was 2 levels. Where are we at? So hold on, US 30. So as we can see, it was brokers are like different. So the absorption isn't showing up on this for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, I have no idea why. But as you can see here, it was Tokyo High. Again, that got taken out right at news, right? When I say I don't pay attention to outcome, I pay attention to price action. This is how I do that. I determined Asian low wasn't taken out, so I mean there wasn't much else for price to do. And then I'm sure there was more Asian levels that hadn't been taken out back here, which is why it just kept on sinking like this. But yeah, use that as your barometer, right? Ask yourself, has Asian low or Asian high been taken out? And I'm not going to say don't trade if it has been taken out because good setups still can occur, but be way more cautious. Like understand that when Asian low or high is still intact, you have a potentially high probability trade setup with a logical target, right? And in the perfect world, because I know like we're all human, like I love to trade, right? I know that just because Asian low isn't taken out, I might not necessarily uh like stay out the market, right? I may look to another pair, something like that. But your best setups are gonna occur like that. Okay. So let me see. Again, another thing that it doesn't matter what you trade, right? Doesn't matter what you trade. The concepts that I'm teaching you, they work across all markets, right? Day in and day out. It's going to give you opportunity like on Nas, like the lower time frames. That's how you get like these crazy entries. Like you see the absorption happen on Nas too. Like the same setup that happened on US 30 happened on Nas, and it was so clean, like just ridiculously clean. And even the buy up, like you could have bought Nas right here for like 150 points with the same thing that I'm telling you about, right? Relevant pricing level plus color, right? Plus retail excitement. That's it. That's it. Okay. So it's simple, right? But it's going to take, again, your dedication. It's not just going to happen overnight. You know what I mean?
Right.
So just lock in. Any questions you have, just put them in the Discord, the general chat, the for the actual full fledged dojo, because Anytime you ask a question, it's an opportunity for everybody to learn, right? So,
Right.
you have any other questions for me, Derek, or anything on your mind about anything?
I was wondering if there's a possibility that I could share my screen with you because your charts are so clean, and I could really see the turning point of the price. I was wondering if that is something that is just a level, or if I can actually see that
Share
as
your screen.
well.
Go ahead and share your screen for me. We can make sure that you have a clean chart as well.
So this one, yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Okay,
I want to make
so
sure those levels are pronounced because I know you have a different version. So I don't know if that's the reason why I'm able to see everything on your chart so clearly.
here, let me I just requested remote control. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna turn off the bar change argument. Okay, so that should clear up a little bit of space. You don't have all those numbers on your screen now. Um, you don't want the watermark. I don't think you do, at least. Most people don't want the watermark in the background. Okay. You already have the like I don't have my labels on, but again, you can toggle those on and off here.
I just want to get used to those areas. That's why I like the way how crisp your lines are, so you can
Yeah.
actually really see until I get used to them.
Okay, cool.
That's a great option, is to
Yeah,
having those labels.
for sure. So, and it definitely helps you see um the right ones too. So, yeah. But it looks like you're pretty good. This is Oh, let me actually delete this and bring up Neo Hyena Vision again because I did just update it, and you are the first one to know about the update. See, did the update come through? Um, hmm. I might have to republish it. I don't know why the. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can publish it from my side. Hold on. How do I give up? Okay. I'm giving up remote control for a second so I can.
Yeah, you have it.
Yeah, I just gave it up for a
Oh,
second.
did you? So do I click on this?
Yeah, just give me 1 second because what I'm doing, I don't know. I thought I published the indicator, but I guess I didn't. Threshold.
Interesting. So they get tricked into buying. They get excited about buying. It goes up. Red market. That's the indication starts selling.
So strange. Maybe you have to close down Trading View and reopen it.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, let me actually. I think I can. I hold on. Oh, I can okay do this. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna close down Trading View. Yeah, let's see. Charts. Okay, boom, got it. Got it. So you should be um good to go. Oh man, this is perfect too. So I'm glad that we're on the call again. I'm always happy to teach, but you see how it got to that absorption line,
Yes.
right? And then it took off. What time? Not at not really at a special time, but again, the market can move regardless of what time it is. Like it doesn't always have to be on the timing that we think. In fact, there's more unknowns about the market than there are knowns. You know, it's like the ocean. But you can see the same concept, the exact same concept, and you're all that's really all you have to do is wait. It's going to manifest itself at different times and it's going to look different and the candlesticks are going to look different, but if you follow this line plus color, right, equals entry. Like that's really all you have to look for, right? It's touching this line. You see it change color. Even deeper than that, you look for these little dojis, right? Dojis are like a market maker footprint, right? It lets us know when orders are being compressed. Like even though they're tiny orders, this giant push up, it started inside of this. This giant push up that occurred here started inside of that, right? That's what I say or what I mean when I say compressions.
Right.
Okay. All right. So you can also look at like divergence. So are you familiar with the term divergence?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So the market controller also shows divergence, right? We can see here this was making a lower low and the market controller was making a higher high. You can also see that it broke structure. Like this was a change of character in here because the market controller it actually changed character, right? It broke this high that was made by the market controller and then it came back to mitigate right here, right? So there's sneaky ways that you can use these tools that a lot of people aren't really talking about. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
with that, yeah, I think that's it. That's all I got for you.
All right. All right. That's awesome.
All right,
Much
cool.
appreciated.
Absolutely. So I will
Much
talk to you soon.
appreciated.
Any questions you have, just hit me up. Hit me up in the chat. Tag
Yeah.
me in the chat. And yeah, let's make every single day the best day of our lives, brother. It's time.
Exactly. Yeah. You cleared up so much. I mean, it was like looking at Latin, but I understood a little bit of something just because I've been given so many years to the industry. But you just definitely made everything so clear.
I'm glad. I'm glad I could assist. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually upload this video to the course. So the course that you have, I'm gonna make
Okay.
it the very first video, so people can dive in and have that experience that you've just had.
Excellent.
Okay, Derek, I'll be on the lookout in the chat for any questions that you have, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the results. Oh man.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, my pleasure. My pleasure. And I'll talk to you
All
soon,
right.
man. Looks like the market just
Okay.
opened
So
up.
I'll I'll be able to see it there in the upload where you upload it.
Yeah, and let me actually, I see that it didn't save. What I was doing with the canvas for you, take off the watermark, status line, arguments, values. Okay. And this should be good. All right. Cool. All right. You good to go.
All right, so it's saved now. Huh? Okay, great.
Saved, and you should just be able to open it up anytime um you're trying to trade or try to analyze the charts. All right. So if you have no other questions, I'll let you go. And yeah, I'll
All
see you
right.
at the top, brother.
Okay. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
No problem. Peace and
All
love.
right. All right. Peace.